Day 722 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, y'all, we're back again. Another day, another LeetCode problem where we're doing daily LeetCode problems. And today we have question number 1332, remove palindromic subsequences. The difficulty level is easy, but don't worry because you already know we're going to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as well. But before we get started, y'all, don't forget to like, hype, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you need any new Apple AirPods, go ahead and check out that link in the description so you can get you some. Now let's see what the question says. Sorry, y'all. You are given a string S consisting only of letters A and B. In a single step, you can remove one palindromic subsequence from S. Return the minimum number of steps to make the given string empty. A string is a subsequence of a given string, or a string is a subsequence of a given string if it is generated by deleting some characters of a given string without changing its order. Note that a subsequence does not necessarily need to be contiguous. A string is called a palindrome if it is one that reads the same backwards as well as forward. All right, y'all, so that sounds pretty simple, but let's go ahead and take a look at these examples anyway, just to make sure that we are doing this problem correctly. So, in example 1, we have our input S equals a string A, B, A, B, A. The output is 1. Explanation says S is already in palindrome, so its entirety can be removed in a single step. So, once again, a palindrome is a string that reads the same backwards as well as forward. So this reads the same backwards as forward. It reads A, B, A, B, A forward, and it reads A, B, A, B, A backwards, right? So it's already a palindrome, meaning we can delete this. If I copy and paste it over here and we're deleting palindromes, then we could delete this whole palindrome right here. Boom, it's an empty string. We want to return the minimum number of steps to make the given string empty. We did that in one step, so the output is 1. Now, just in case that didn't make sense, let's go ahead and take a look at example 2. Boom. So in example 2, our input S equals a string A, B, B. The output is 2, meaning it took 2 steps. So the explanation says we're going to remove the palindromic subsequence A. So first we're going to remove this A because A is one letter, so that's a palindrome in itself. So we just remove that A. That's one step. Boom. Then this is also a palindrome. Boom. BB reads the same forward as it does backwards, so we could delete this. Boom. Now we have an empty string. In total, we were able to achieve that in 2 steps, so that's why output is 2. Now let's take a look at example 3. So in example 3, we have an input S equals a string B, A, A, B, B. The output is 2. Boom. So once again, let's copy and paste this over here. Boom. So it says, first, we're going to remove the palindrome subsequence BAAB. So first, we're going to just remove this palindrome right here. Boom. Then we're going to remove B. Boom. That was the first step. We remove B. Boom. That's the second step. We have an empty string. And so our output is 2 because we were able to achieve this empty string in 2 steps. So I hope that makes sense to y'all. And now that we understand the question, let's get into the fun part, the actual solution. Solution's not that difficult. Now, first thing we are going to do is we are going to create an inner helper function with the same name. And this is the one that's going to be actually used. So we're just going to come right here. We're going to say func remove palindrome palindrome sub. So it's going to have the same name. So it's going to be everything that is up there. Boom. Then it's going to come outside of this. We're going to return an integer. Boom. Just like this. Now, if the string is empty, then no operations are needed. So we'll just say if s dot is empty, then we could open up the brackets and we could return 0. Boom. Now, we need to create another helper function before we continue with that function. And this is going to check if a string is a palindrome. So we're going to say func is palindrome. Open up the parentheses. We're going to say s colon. That's going to be a string. Come outside of that, it's going to return a Boolean. We're going to open up the brackets, and we're going to use a two-pointer approach. So we're going to declare a variable called P1, set that equal to 0, and we're going to declare another variable called P2 and set that equal to s.count minus 1. Boom. Then we're going to convert the string to an array for big O of 1 index access. So we'll declare a variable called R. We'll set that equal to an array, open up the parentheses, and pass in S. Now we're going to compare characters from both ends moving inward. So we're going to say while, open up the parentheses, P1 is less than P2. We're going to come outside of that. We're going to open up the brackets, and if a mismatch is found, then it's not a palindrome. So we're going to say if R square bracket P1, come outside of that, does not equal, so exclamation point equal sign R, ARR, square bracket P2, then we'll come outside of that, open up the bracket, and we'll just return false right there. Boom. Otherwise, we're going to move the pointers inward. So we're going to come right here, and we could just say P1 plus equals 1, and we'll say P2 minus equals 1. Boom. Now, if all characters match, then it's a palindrome, so we could come right here, and we could say return true. But we're not done yet, because we need to come up here and to see if the string itself is a palindrome. It can be removed in one operation. Otherwise, it's going to take two operations. So we'll say return is palindrome. Open up the parentheses. We'll say S:S. Come outside of that. We're going to say question mark 1:2. Boom, and then we need to call the inner function and return its result by coming all the way down here. And we are just going to come underneath this, and we can say return remove palindrome sub, open up the parentheses, and pass in S, y'all. Boom, that should be all she wrote. Let's give it a run. Make sure it runs properly before we submit it. Okay, we have an error. This should be is palindrome. We need to put an E at the end. Let's run it again. It's accepted, so let's go ahead and submit it. Make sure it's still accepted after we submit it. And look at that, y'all. 0 milliseconds beats 100% of users. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to see, y'all. So before we go, make sure you get one more look at the code. This is the top part. This is the bottom part. And yeah, y'all, with that being said, I hope y'all learned something today, and I hope to see y'all here tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See y'all then.